This is going to be all about portfolio engineering. This is about unlocking wealth. I love actually, it's funny because Natasha mentioned it, how she's been talking about secondary suites forever, which we call ARUs or secondary suites, same thing. And I've been talking now, I feel like for a couple of years about ADUs or coach homes or garden suites or laneway homes or whatever the case may be. I'll talk more about that today. I'll give you guys some new case studies tonight for you to shine a light on. My plan is for you to see this differently. I think a lot of people, when we talk about portfolio engineering, when we talk about ARUs, we talk about ADUs, and we talk about these high ROI renovation type strategies where you're forcing up the appreciation of a property. When we speak about this, I feel like a lot of people think, well, that works for a guy like Brent Mills, who's got a lot of real estate. That works for a guy like Patrick Francie, who's got a lot of real estate. That works for someone who's super experienced like Natasha, who's been doing this a long time, or so on and so forth. But the fact is that what I'm sharing with you here tonight are tactics and strategies that everyone can implement, and of course, not only in Ontario, not only in Alberta, but in BC and in every part of the country. Now, every province and every municipality is going about this their own way. So, you have to check with your local bylaws. You have to check with your local municipality. Of course, this is what we do at Visture, is we help our clients do this. But wherever you're doing this, whether you're doing this in Calgary, you're doing this in Edmonton, you're doing this in Toronto, you're doing this in Peterborough, you're doing this in BC, it doesn't matter. Check with your local bylaws. There's lots and a ton of opportunity. So what I'm calling this the hidden asset class, which is the backyard revolution. This is about changing how we look at our backyards. It's about doing what I call turn your grass into cash. And this has nothing to do with cannabis. It is about turning your grass into cash. This is about taking your backyard and turning it into a revenue generating asset that could multiply your wealth in a big, big way. Now, for those of you that don't know, yes, I spend a lot of time speaking, educating, helping real estate investors. Obviously, I do a lot of speaking both on Zoom as well as in person. Seem to be doing more lately in person, which is actually really kind of cool. But my day to day is at Visture Property Group. We operate $100 million portfolio of real estate, and we have a construction company, and we serve thousands of clients doing these kinds of projects, turnkey for clients just like you, homeowners, investors, people that are looking at their first property, people that are looking at their third, their fourth, their fifth, their 10th property. We help them all. And that's because our mission is we want to enrich lives with real estate. That's what we want to do. So that's where I'm at today, and that's what I'm doing today. But that's not where I started. In fact, I started in this very room at the Real Estate Investment Network. And for 5 years, I thought about real estate. For 5 years, and I say I wasted 5 years because I was just thinking about real estate and I was listening to the wrong people. I wasn't in this room. And it was that decision I made to get in this room that changed everything. It was a decision I made to listen to new people that changed everything. It was the decision I made to stop listening to my own excuses, which changed everything. The fact is I was afraid of the unknown, but this quote really got me thinking. And Warren Buffett said, it's good to learn from your mistakes, but it's even better to learn from other people's mistakes. And that's actually what inspired me to join Rain. I was like, wow, this is great. I can learn from all these people. I can learn from the Patrick Francis of the world. I can learn from the Doug Campbells of the world. I can learn from all these amazing people that are doing this, and I won't have to make these mistakes. And then I developed over the years this kind of 3-part plan, which is you always need a good mentor, you always need a good business model, and you always need the right moment. And I think for this here, for the hidden asset class, or what I call the backyard revolution, this is that moment. So I want to kind of give you these case studies tonight to open your mind, because whether you're listening to this yourself as an investor, or whether you're a homeowner and you're thinking, man, I could do this, or you may even know somebody who can do this, and I have no doubt, zero doubt, that you are going to be able to relate to one of these 4 case studies, one of these 4 scenarios. You will no doubt be able to relate to them in one way, shape, or form. Okay. So that's what I want to do. Spend the next kind of 15, 20 minutes talking about that. I'll bounce around. I'll be happy to take questions at the end if you guys have any, or throughout. If you have any questions throughout, just put them in the chat. I'll keep an eye on the chat here as I'm speaking, and we'll go from there. One of the changes that's been happening in real estate, and I think you all can feel it. You know, many of you have been coming to Rain for years and years and years. Many of you have been listening to me speak and Patrick speak and the Rain, incredible Rain stage and the speakers is here for many years. And I think you can feel that a lot of real estate is kind of changing. The industry is changing. How you generate is from real estate is changing. And one of the things that I have personally observed is that real estate used to be about accumulation, but I think we're heading into a new era. I think that new era is about optimization. How do you optimize the real estate you have instead of just focusing on accumulating more? Have you noticed that the days where someone would say, I own 120 properties, I own 30 properties, I own 20 properties, those days are done. The industry has made it quite difficult for people to grow these massive portfolios like they used to. So now you have to do the best you can do to optimize the portfolio that you have. And that's where this portfolio engineering strategy that I'm here to talk about lends itself really, really, really well. So I want to introduce you to four people. Now, these are four real clients that we work with at Visture. Like I said, right now at Visture Property Group, I got 45 projects, 45 active construction projects right now as of today that I checked. And I got 40 in the pipeline coming right behind it. So it's a busy time. And we work with, like I said, lots of different types of clients. So I'm going to introduce you to four of them. These are four real scenarios. Real clients have changed their names, obviously, but these are four real scenarios. I got Jacqueline. Now, Jacqueline is a smart homeowner trying to become an investor. She owns a property right now. She wants to grow, and she wants to grow her wealth, and she wants to become an investor. Sigfroid. Sigfroid is a multi-property optimizer, and he's hitting the wall. Now, you guys know what I'm talking about when I say the wall. You're having a hard time getting financing. I don't know if any of you right now are trying to get financing for property, but let me tell you, I'm saying there's a liquidity crisis going on because the banks are tight right now. They are not making it easy to get financing at this right now where it is. So a lot of investors that have sizable portfolios, I call them Sigfroids, which is they own multiple properties and they want to optimize those properties. Then we have what I call Dave Dev. Dave Dev is a smart family man, and he wants to leave a legacy for his kids. Many of you, and I know, a lot of people get into real estate because they want to leave a legacy for their kids one day. And I'm going to show you with this tactic, this can be the way you're going to do it. And the fourth person is Leanne. Now, Leanne is a daughter. Mom and dad are getting older. She wants to protect their legacy and she wants to protect the family's wealth. And this tactic will help her do that. So let me get into every one of these cases individually and really jump in and kind of take you through it. So here's Jacqueline. Jacqueline is going to use what I call an equity to income strategy. She currently owns a single family home. Now, some of you are in this scenario. I know I've been in this scenario before where you own a single family home and you might be equity rich, but you're cash poor. You really want to generate some additional income and you got this house, but it ain't making you any money. I think it's Robert Kiyosaki who says it really good. Unless that property making you cash flow, that thing's not an asset, that thing's a liability. And this is where Jacqueline wants to turn this around. She wants to go from an equity rich and cash poor situation to being equity rich and cash rich. She wants to generate some cash. So what she's going to do is currently she has her property that's worth $550,000. These are real numbers, by the way. She is going to build a secondary suite. Or as Natasha's been talking about, these are what we say ARUs, secondary suites, basement suites. These are rentals that you could rent out. Around here in my neck of the woods, you're renting out a basement suite for $1,900, $2,000, $2,100, $2,200. Very similar numbers in Alberta, very similar numbers to BC. It's all relatively the same numbers. But the point is, you're generating $24,000 a year, give or take, on a basement suite. And here's the best part. Her property value jumped from $550,000 up to $725,000. She boosted up the value of that property. She then refinances and pulls out that equity, and then she builds a coach home, or what we say an ADU, which is an accessory dwelling unit. A coach home, garden suite, laneway house, it's all the same thing. But this is a separate building that is going to generate more income for her. Now, this coach home, She builds this coach home, cost her about $250,000 to build this coach home. And now the value of her property, which is a single family home, plus the ARU basement suite, plus the ADU coach home, total value over $1 million. And best part, not only does she grow her equity in her property from 550, or the value of her property from 550,000 to $1 million, but she's now generating $4,500 a month, 2,000 for the basement suite and $2,500 from the coach home, for a total of $4,500 a month. So now not only is she equity rich, she's also becoming cash rich because she's generating $54,000 a year, which is a nice little bonus for the average person. And think about that. Over the course of 10 years, that's over $500,000 of cash she's generated. Incredible. But one of the best things about this is not only is she generating cash, she's now compounding her real estate, not at a value of 550,000. She's compounding her real estate at a value of 1 million, and her principal pay down is that much more as well. So her total return on investment is way better. And a lot of people ask me, they say, JG, how can I get started in real estate? How can I do like the people at Rain have done? And my answer is, this is the best way to start. This is what you should do. If you own a single family home right now and you're thinking, how do I get started? How do I leverage my current position? This is 100%, in most cases, a phenomenal place to start. Okay. So that's Jacqueline in her particular case. Now let me show you, and I'm going to show you an example. Actually, let me jump into that case study. This is a gentleman came to me, and this is happening in real time right now. Gentleman came to me with a single family home, just bought it for $600,000. Said to me, JG, I don't know what to do with this thing. Should I renovate it? Should I just kind of rent it? Should I move my family into it? What should I do with this thing? I said, well, let me have a look at it, and I'll run some concepts for you. I'll run some pro formas for you, and we'll take a look. So if you have a look right now, turns out that the bottom line, I'm going to get back to these pictures in a second. The bottom line after I looked at it is I said, there is no doubt you should definitely do a single family home plus an ARU basement plus a coach home. This property is going to generate a total monthly cash flow, net cash flow, after paying absolutely everything, including his mortgage, of $2,009. And the 10-year ROI is 339%, which is incredible. And it requires a lot less cash than you would think to be able to do all this, because you're leveraging the bank's money. So we designed these concepts for him, and you can see on the left-hand side there, where we would take his basement, which is currently all demoed, and I did this little concept for him and said, hey, look at what a lower basement suite can look like. And then in the middle picture, you could see his upper unit, which he had just demoed. I said we could put an upper unit in here. So we just showed him what a kitchen would look like. And then in the backyard, we could do a coach home or an accessory dwelling unit. And like I said, the results are absolutely spectacular. In fact, here's the full breakdown of the full ROI, which you can see highlighted there. Instead of going through every number, I think you're just interested in that net monthly cash flow. As a single family home, he'd be losing $800 a month, or $792. As a 2-unit, he would make about $665 a month, which is still pretty fantastic, by the way. But the minute you add a coach house, the minute you add that 3rd unit, we're talking about $2,009 per month net positive cash flow. And in 10 years from now, he's accumulated almost $250,000 in net positive cash flow. And his total ROI is 339%. It's absolutely incredible. Now, I do want to mention, actually, I'll talk about Sigfroid, and then I'll talk about the Alberta problem, as I call it. Because Alberta, I think, has a specific, I think there's a densification issue that happens in Alberta that is also going to happen in other markets, and I want to flag it for you all here. But let me get to the second case study. The second case study is Sigfroid. Now, there's a lot of Sigfroids. In fact, I would say at the Real Estate Investment Network and at the other organizations like Wealth Genius and all the various investment clubs that we all hang out in, there's a ton of Sigfroids, which is there are people who've accumulated some real estate, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties over the years, and they've done well with those properties, But now they're having a hard time buying more properties. They can't buy property number 6 or 7 or 10 or 12. The banks are making it so difficult, and it's getting so costly to purchase them. They're saying, forget it. I got to do something different. And what I'm saying, this is that something different. So in Sigfroid's case, and this is a real client of ours here at Visture, he had 5 properties, and his 5 properties, he had two properties that were single family homes with ARUs or basement suites. So those are 2 units. I'll just call those duplexes for the sake of easy reference. And then he had 3 single family homes. So his first move was to essentially duplex or create 2 units out of all of his properties. So in phase one, he essentially has 7 doors, which is two units, and then 3 single families for a total of 7 doors. Then once we put suites into all his properties, now he's got 10 doors. So he's already improved quite considerably. He's boosted his portfolio by about 40% and has done quite well just by adding ARUs. But that's not the big money maker. The big money maker is when you add the ADUs or the coach homes, and I call those trifectas. And a trifecta is a single family home plus an ARU plus an ADU. And if done right, those should generate about $7,000 a month in revenue per unit. Now, in Sigfroid's case, he's got 5 of those. Think about that. That's $35,000 a month in revenue that he's going to be making from this. It's absolutely incredible. And every single one, instead of them being worth on average about 550, 575, 525, 535, they go up to a million, 1 million, 1.1 million, up to 1.2 million in certain cases. So you're talking about a total portfolio value of $5 million to $5.5 million. You're talking about total revenue of $35,000 per month without purchasing a single piece of real estate on top of what Sigfroid already had, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, Vanessa, I'm going to get to financing is a fantastic question. So actually, let's touch on that right now. In most cases, in every case study that I'm giving you today, we are using mostly the bank's money. Most of the people that are in these positions to do this tactic I'm talking about are leveraging the equity in their property. They're pulling out some equity in their property and they're leveraging that equity. Whether they do it through a HELOC, whether they do it by refinancing the property, whether they're putting some cash to work, perhaps. But by the time you move through all of this and you refinance your property, you can typically recoup the bulk of your investment if it's done right. And by the way, and if you don't quite recoup all of your investment, up front, then you give it a little bit of time. You give it a year, you give it 3 years, you give it 4 years, you give it 5 years, and you'll be able to pull your equity out. So there's no matter every scenario I've run, the majority of people are pulling out their money somewhere between year 3 and year 4 for sure. Many of them are pulling out before that, but everyone's pulling out in year 3, year 4 for sure. So that's the answer to that, Vanessa. Great question. And this is actually Sigfroid's first coach home right here on the left. And I didn't have that many pictures available. I was rushing right before to give you guys some kind of current pictures. These pictures are literally hot off the press. I think I took them 2-3 weeks ago. On the left-hand side, the left picture there, on the left of that sidewalk we did for this client, that's his 2-unit building that he recently put 2 units into. And then at the back, you can see the coach home or the ADU. And absolutely fantastic. The 2 other pictures are actually staged pictures of what we did with this ADU. This one here was an 837 square foot ADU coach home, attracted a fantastic family. They're super happy there. And yeah, it's very, very exciting. And now we moved on to a second property and we're doing it again and again and again. And his plan is very simple. He's going to do one of these every 4 to 6 months, and he's going to refinance and keep pushing it into the next property. So that is Sigfroid as case study number 2. By the way, folks, you got more questions, put them in the chat. I'll answer them as I go. Thanks, Vanessa, for that last question. It was a great one. Now, Dave Dev is Dave was someone who had already been in real estate. He understood the power of real estate. Dave and his wife, they totally understood the power of real estate. They had sold off their real estate. They wanted to help their daughter get into real estate, but No, they wanted the daughter to play a role. They wanted the daughter to they didn't want to give her a property. They wanted her to contribute to a property. They wanted her to work for it, which I know I totally respect. So what they did is they approached us and they said, "Hey, why don't we build a coach home ADU for our daughter?" And I said, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about how to do that. So what they did in this particular case is the daughter, who was in the early 20s, living at home, wanted to move out, obviously, wanted to get her own place, wanted to get involved in real estate, wanted to start building equity instead of just living in the basement of her parents. We converted Dev's workshop into a coach home, and I'll show you pictures. And actually, I'll show you a little video of this after I'm done this. Turned out absolutely incredible. It was a 950 square foot coach home. It turned out to be 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom, beautiful open concept, really, really nice. And the game plan is the following. Now, she was able to contribute to this coach home. We built this coach home for her. Now she's building equity. And in 2 to 3 years, when she's built up enough equity and she plans to buy another property and move into her own new place, this is what's amazing about this is now she knows how to do this. So she is going to be able to do this at her next property, build a suite, build a coach home, build a trifecta for herself. But also Dev, now he's got a coach home ADU at his current residence, and he's going to be able to do something with that. He can rent it for additional pension income. He can put more family into it. He can move the next kid into it. He's got a variety of options. The point is the family has options because of this very tactic. So I'm seeing a ton of this right now because there's a lot of us in this room that and a lot of you have young kids. You want to get your kids started in real estate, but you want them to contribute, and they might not be ready for a full portfolio on their own. This is a fantastic way to get them involved in real estate, and best part, also get them out of the house. So you get them out of the basement and into real estate all at the same time, which is really cool. Let me play this little short video, guys, and you'll see how we converted. You'll see some pictures of how we converted this workshop, and I'm not kidding. I walked into this workshop, and you had to have some real vision. I mean, there was tools everywhere. You could barely walk in this place. There was tools everywhere. There was car parts. There was tractors. There was all kinds of stuff. And he said to me, well, actually, he wanted to build the coach home somewhere else on the property. He had about 5 acres. And I said, I think this workshop is where this coach home belongs. It's going to be absolutely perfect. And at first they couldn't see it. And I said, just trust me, it's going to turn out incredible. So watch this. And it's probably going to be about a 2-minute video, and you'll see the progression, and it'll be a little bit of an audio to it, but I think you'll really enjoy it. So watch this and then we'll continue.
This project started with a clear goal: transforming underutilized space into a beautiful, income-generating asset for the homeowner's daughter. There are 4 phases to this type of project: planning and design, demolition and preparation, construction including framing and utilities, and the final phase of finishes and fixtures. We began by laying the foundation for the new living area. This initial floor framing establishes the footprint and structural integrity, transforming the garage into a home. The next big step was closing up the 2 massive openings where the old garage doors sat. We replaced it with new framed walls and 2 gorgeous windows, allowing nice light into the space and immediately increasing curb appeal and energy efficiency. With the exterior sealed, we moved inside to define the interior spaces. We carved out the 2 bedrooms, bathroom, and living area, running the rough-in for plumbing, heating, and electrical systems. After framing and mechanicals, we installed proper insulation. This is crucial for energy efficiency, ensuring low utility bills and a cozy environment, increasing the unit's long-term value. In order to achieve all of this, we rely on spray foam insulation. The installation of drywall is a major milestone. The space stops looking like a construction site and starts looking like a home, allowing for painting and trim work. We moved from the rough-in phase to finishing touches, starting with the installation of the new front door, which is the official entry point to a brand new home. We also installed a 1-piece bathtub and shower combo at the owner's request. The daughter chose a really nice luxury vinyl plank floor, which matched beautifully with her finishes. Here is the finished kitchen, featuring full-size stainless steel appliances and a beautiful countertop. We even managed to squeeze in a very functional pantry, which the client loved. The main living space is complete, showcasing the full potential of this conversion. Visture's services include a full appliance package, customized to the client's taste. Stepping into the main space, you see the commitment to quality and comfort. Features include ample closet space and large windows, creating a quiet, private retreat for the client. The open layout maximizes square footage, making the unit feel modern and spacious. This spacious 980 square foot coach home is a perfect example of a homeowner converting underutilized space into an asset that transforms his family's legacy. At Visture Property Group.
So there you have it. I think it's really cool. It turned out so well. Actually, yesterday I did a final kind of visit with the daughter just to go through her place, and she was showing me around, and she's so proud. That's the coolest part about this whole thing is that we've really empowered. Keep in mind, remember I started with our mission. Our mission is to enrich lives with real estate, and I really feel like we've done that in this case because she's proud. She's got her own house. She feels like she's making it, and it's amazing. And now she's growing. So it's really cool. The last case study here, folks. Sorry. Let me just answer Wilma's question here, which is good. That is correct. In this particular case, I think, Wilma, I don't have the details, the super details on this, but I believe that it's stuck with the mortgage. The mortgage stayed on with the Dave and his wife, but they did have a deal behind the scenes, whereas the equity increase in the property, because don't forget when they did this, whatever the property value was, this added, geez, a solid 350, maybe even $400,000 of value to the property. So as the property now appreciates in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, when the daughter moves out, there will be an equity bump there, and they had a deal where she's going to get that equity bump. That's the beauty of this. That's how she's going to have her start in real estate. So really, really cool. The last part here, I'll talk to this case study is what I'm calling Leanne's legacy strategy. And this I'm seeing a ton of as well. We're doing a ton of these right now. I'll show you a couple. And this is where you have aging parents. Now, all of us are either in one of two scenarios. We're either in the scenario where we got kids and we're trying to get the kids out of the house, or we got parents that are aging and we need to have a solution for those aging parents. And this, my friends, is an incredible solution. Now, this one's a little bit kind of more complicated. It's got a few more moving parts to it, but just follow me along and you'll see how in one fell swoop, we are able to protect the family's legacy, grow the family's wealth, build a pension for life, and protect the assets of the family. It's absolutely incredible what we've put together here. So here's how it goes. Leanne, let's just say Leanne, in this particular case is, someone who's mid 40s, owns her own house. Mom and dad are in their late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s, late 80s, whatever the case may be. And mom and dad are thinking, okay, we got to do something with our house. We're not going to be able to live here forever. So what do we do with the house? Now, they know that they want to get closer to Leanne, but most people don't want to end up in a retirement home until they absolutely have to. So there's a transition period there. There's 5, there's 10, there's 15 years where mom and dad are going to go and live in something that is purpose built for aging in place. And this is a huge trend, ladies and gentlemen, and you could totally capitalize on this. So what's happening is that the first step, goal number, the second phase, the first phase is Leanne has a house and is the daughter in this case, and the parents, they have a house. But as you know, most aging parents, they've already paid off their mortgage. They own their houses free and clear. They don't have any debts on these properties. They've paid that a long time ago. So then we move into phase 2. The first thing that you do is you build a coach home for mom and dad at Leanne's. So you build a coach home ADU for mom and dad at Leanne's, and you allow them to move into there. Now, this is a purpose-built, aging in place, 1 floor, perfect for mom and dad, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, nice open concept, really, really nice. Mom and dad are very comfortable there. They're close to Leanne. They're close to the grandkids. They're close to help. They're close to support. It's absolutely perfect. Then what you do is you take mom and dad's house and you make a trifecta out of it. And you take mom and dad's house, which is completely paid off. You pull some of the equity out of it. You refinance it. You do a single family plus ARU plus ADU coach home, and you create a trifecta. So that property now generates $7,000 per month in revenue, which is incredible. And mom and dad have an incredible place to live at Leanne's, and they have this coach home. Now, fast forward 10 years. Unfortunately, mom and dad are gone. Mom and dad aren't around anymore. They've passed on to a better place. Well, now Leanne has protected the family's legacy. Now Leanne has over $2 million of assets and generates $9,500 a month from mom and dad's trifecta and from Leanne's coach house, because she has this coach home that mom and dad used to live into, but they don't need to live there anymore. So now she can rent that out if she wants for an additional $2,500 a month. So we have a situation where we've taken a problem called parents that are aging. What do we do with this real estate? What do we do with this situation? And how do we get the support we need? And how do we live an amazing and how do we enrich our lives as we age gracefully? We've been able to do this, protect the family's legacy, and create over $2 million of assets all in one fell swoop. It's absolutely spectacular. And we're doing a ton of this. I'll show you a couple pictures here. In fact, we have one client. This is such an incredible property. I can't wait to show you guys this in the next year. We're starting this project in the winter here, so I'll probably have some pictures for you in the spring. This is an old chicken coop. This is an old chicken coop barn that we are converting into a barndominium. And we are, you can see here on the right-hand side of this picture, you see where the breezeway is? We're going to open a breezeway in this barn. And on the right-hand side, we're going to build a beautiful coach home ADU for mom and dad for them to age gracefully. On the left-hand side, we're going to have this massive garage barn setup for the kids as well as for mom and dad. It's going to be a really, really cool situation. This is an amazing project. More on this. The other one here is this is another family that's been referred to us. This is their single family home right here, right now. And exact same kind of Leanne situation. They want to bring mom and dad closer too. So I'm actually, you guys actually, I don't want to say, I probably shouldn't say this, but you guys are going to see their concepts before they're going to see their concepts. I just got these back today and I was so darn excited that I wanted to show somebody. So I'm going to show you guys their concept for their coach home ADU edition, because in this one I'm going to do an addition, and they haven't even seen this. So now, since you don't know who they are, you're not going to show it to them. But check this out. This is their current home, okay, and this is what we're going to build for them. Boom! Look at that. Absolutely incredible. So at the top there is going to be mom and dad's house, and this is going to be a 1,200 square foot apartment for mom and dad. At the bottom, the sister-in-law is going to live there, and she's going to have a 1,200 square foot apartment. And then the rest of the house, all the rest of that is probably like a 3,000 square foot home, maybe, roughly. And the Leanne in this situation with husband, wife, two kids that are growing up, they're going to get to live there. So you've now turned this into a multi-generational household, protecting that family's legacy. And there's much more to be done with mom and dad's house. So this is the 4 case studies I wanted to share with you guys tonight, and kind of hopefully expand your mind on how this tactic is so useful. This is not just about investors adding property and adding rental to their portfolio. Yes, that's one component of it, but you can use this tactic in many, many, many different ways for you to grow and protect your legacy, protect your family's legacy, help your sons, help your daughters, help your aging parents, generate a lot more rental income. And grow your wealth all at the same time. And that's why it works so well with our vision and our mission of enriching people's lives in real estate. So, I like to say we've invested 15 years at Visture and well over $10 million of our own money to systemize your success. Uh, you know, I have been saying that we go from shovel to cash flow in 88 days, because that's how fast we build these ADUs. Brett Mills knows personally that we do it quite quickly. We're definitely best in class, and we do it very, very fast. I'm happy to report that we are getting better. Our quality is even better than it's ever been, and we're now doing it in 70 days. As of just actually last week, this was confirmed. So this is really, really cool. These projects, they move quick, and they can change your life incredibly, incredibly fast. So I like to say you can't stop the wave, but you can ride it. And many of you know I've spoken many times at Rain before. One of the things I love to do is to find the next wave of real estate and get ahead of it. And I believe this is definitely the next wave in real estate. So I hope that this has been helpful to you tonight. And if you have a project, by the way, if you have a project that you want to consider and you want to get our opinion on it and you want to get my opinion on it, whether it's a good project, whether it makes sense, whatever the case may be, my thank you gift and my way of helping the community is to offer you this VIP consultation bundle, which means that you get a copy of my book. You get, if you're in the area, I want you to come to one of our upcoming Coach Home property tours, which are absolutely awesome. We walk you through these properties. We show you them. You get to touch them. You get to feel them. You get to see what they're like. And you're going to notice these are not tiny homes. Like, these are big. These are like, wow, very, very comfortable. That's why they get such premium rents. We also offer, as part of this VIP consultation, a consultation meeting with me and my team. In depending on where your project is, we'll meet with you, and we have a 90-minute webinar because of course I can only say so much on these relatively short speaking engagements. I have a 90-minute webinar on the fast path to cash with Coach Homes. So text the word VIP to that number, 705-998-2017. If you text the word VIP, you'll my system will reply to you. You can fill out your information, and bam, you'll get all of this stuff. And what I really encourage you, quite frankly, is come to one of our Coach Home property tours. It is even worth traveling from outside. I've had people come from all over Ontario. I've had people from Alberta. I've had people from BC. They're absolutely awesome because you're going to see what is at the cutting edge of real estate and this tactic and how it can help you. So I'll leave it there for now. And if you have any questions, put it in the chat. I'm happy to answer any more questions on this topic. I did mention at the beginning, before I wrap this up, that I think there's a densification issue. This tactic that I'm talking about here is 3 units. And what I mean by that is it's a single family plus ARU plus ADU. So you're putting 3 units on one piece of land. I know in Alberta, and actually Natasha mentioned it, there's the 8-unit strategy where you take a building, an infill, you tear it down and you squeeze 8 units on it. Or up to 8 units. And I think that I just want to go on record and say that I don't think every property deserves the maximum densification. And sometimes you can actually hurt yourself more than help yourself if you don't plan these projects out properly. And in Peterborough, for example, where I operate all over kind of the Golden Horseshoe, north of the GTA, Durham, Peterborough, Lindsay, Aurelia, and we actually do stuff in Hamilton as well. But we can go up to 4 units. In some cases, we go up to 6 units as well. But I got to tell you that we don't just squeeze units on there for the sake of squeezing units on there. It's really, really critical that you plan every property so that it's the highest and best use for that property, not just the maximum number of units you can squeeze in. Because what Natasha talked about, how that developer built this 80-unit building, didn't put any parking, and now can't sell it. She doesn't want to buy it. And essentially, it's a really bad deal. And it's not. That's a large scale of not making a wise decision on highest and best use. But it can happen to you as well if you try to squeeze too many units on a property that doesn't deserve it. I'm just going to say that I think there's a densification issue. I see it much more in Alberta than anywhere else because you guys are so liberal with your densification, which is amazing, and I love that. But if you sometimes try to squeeze 8 units on a single family plot of land, man, it doesn't always work out. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. Now, questions. Let's answer questions before we wrap it up. Nolan, any recommendations of a company like yours in Alberta doing this type of consultation construction? Actually, I don't, Nolan. I don't, but maybe Natasha does. I can ask Patrick. Maybe Patrick does. I know there are some that do it, but I don't know of any Visture type companies out there. So I apologize, Nolan. But let check with Natasha. I'm sure Natasha must know somebody for sure. Brent, how are recent appraisals coming in? Are recent ARUs, ADUs in your market? Oh, Brent, great question. Last year, Brent, as you very well know, these properties were appraising for 1.1 million. 1.1 to 1.2 is what I was getting last year. I'm now getting 1 to 1.1. So they're down by about 100K, the trifecta, as I call it. I do expect that's going to rebound. When the market rebounds, I expect that's going to rebound. And I expect that no earlier than late 2026 to into early 2027. So in my pro formas now, I'm counting on $1 million. I just got a $1 million appraisal a couple weeks ago, so I know we can get $1 million appraisals right now. But the rents are still very, very strong. So even though we're not quite getting the appraisal I was getting 12 months ago, we're still getting very, very strong rents. They're down a little bit, but because these units are brand new, they're beautiful, they're attracting amazing tenants. The rents are still very strong. So that you're still getting that, $6,800 of income, 69, 7, 71, $7,200 of income per trifecta. Great question, Brent. Thank you. Few years ago, you mentioned prefab home was too expensive for coach homes. I heard some real estate investors are importing much cheaper prefab modules from China. Uh, Wilma, I love this. If you could pass this information on to me, I would love to check it out. I don't know of that. I recently visited the Boxable. Have you guys heard of Boxable? I'm sure you have. It's very popular. Elon Musk is involved. They're all over the US. I recently went to Boxable and visited them myself. I'm now looking to work with Boxable. We're looking at building a partnership perhaps. What I can tell you is I've looked at just about every Canadian made and American made modular home, and I'm still doing it cheaper than them. Okay. These coach homes I'm putting up for before HST, I'm putting them up for 220, 240, 260, 270, 280, 290 in that range, depending on the size. But I haven't heard about these, the China one you talked about, that is Canadian compliant. I haven't heard about that. I would love it. Send me an email, Wilma, with that information. If you have a company name or something like that, send me an email, jg@visture.ca, and I'd love to investigate them because it'd be awesome. I do know that in China, they're doing some phenomenal construction stuff. They're putting up homes in 24 hours. It's absolutely incredible, some of the stuff they got going on over there. The automation and some of the robotization and some of the manufacturing they got going on is absolutely crazy. So I know they're definitely ahead of us. So I would not be surprised, and I'm very curious about it. Brent, are the major Canadian banks valuing these properties appropriately? That's a great question, Brent. Uh, the rental income that these properties derive has a lot to do with their value. Also, how much you pay for the property and how much you renovate for the property has a lot to do with the value of these properties. What I can tell you is we're now starting to see, and I'm working with a new mortgage broker, that we are now starting to see custom programs just for these types of properties. I mean, they are seeing what we're seeing in the market, and they're putting together programs where if you have, let's just say, a single family home, they will finance up to 85% of your construction to do your duplex or your 2 unit, your ARU in your basement, and 85% of your coach home. And they'll give you draws along the way, and they'll give you an as built appraisal up front. So, Brent, to answer your question, we are seeing definitely some movement in that market. At the very same time as I say that, this is the tightest liquidity market I've ever seen before in real estate. I mean, it's like pulling teeth to get money from the banks right now, in some cases. So some new programs are coming out, and that's really cool. And then in other places that we used to get really great financing, it's getting tougher and tougher. So definitely the liquidity in the bank, in the lender market right now. I don't think we have a broker on the line here tonight, but from where I sit in Ontario, in the various markets I operate, we're pulling from two opposite ends of the spectrum, which is some hope, some new creative programs, some new awesome programs, and some real tight lenders that are just slowing things down. And again, I think we're going to be in that phase for the next 6 months and 12 months, and then hopefully we start to loosen up. Uh, doo, doo, doo. Great question, guys. You guys are killing it. I'm like Leanne. What's the difference between building a suite and coach home instead of building multifamily 5+ for better wealth? Well, it's really just so, Vanessa. I mean, Vanessa, this is a great question. Let me answer it this way. What we do with every project we take on, not every, many projects we take on, we do what's called a site planning consultation. It's one of the services we offer at Visture, and we work with a lot of any one of those case studies. They come to us and they say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What can I do? What should I do? And so on and so forth. And we do what's called a site planning consultation. And we go through essentially all of the planning of what's possible on that land. And we look at single family, we look at 2 units, and we look at 3 units, and we look at maybe 4 units and 5 units, and so on and so forth. Whatever's possible on that piece of land, we run the numbers, and then we evaluate it. Because if it's just about generating income, if it's just about generating cash flow, if it's just about building wealth, then maybe you are better off to go with a multifamily 5+. Maybe you are, but it really depends on your scenario. It depends on your situation. It depends on how long you've owned this property, and it really depends on your long-term plan. What is your long-term plan with this property? What is the long-term benefit you're looking to get from this? And how do you want to exit this property? Are you going to leave it to the kids? Are you going to sell it? Are you going to, what are you going to do? So that's a very individual question, Vanessa. There's really no one shoe fits all here in this case. So that's why we offer the site planning consultation for a lot of our investors. Hopefully that helps. Ken's asking, answering a question with regards to Vanessa about demoing the current property, demoing the current house. And I know in Alberta that's a popular thing. It's popular in Toronto too, where you buy a single family home for whatever X number of hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, and you demo it. You literally get rid of the whole thing, and then you purpose build one of these 4, 6, 8 unit buildings. That's not what I'm talking about here. This is about leveraging the current building that's already there, and that's actually one of the best. One of the things I love best about this tactic, and it's not in these numbers, and I don't usually speak to it because I don't have enough time, but one of the things that make these projects so valuable and so good on a return on investment is that you don't have a lot of the soft costs. You don't have a lot of the planning costs. You don't have a lot of the legal costs. You don't have a lot of the demo costs. And those in properties, now, not so much in Alberta, but in Ontario, those are very expensive. Like, for example, there's no development charges on these projects. You're adding 2 units to a property. You're not paying a single penny in development charges. The average development charge in Ontario is over $50,000 per unit. So if I was to take that piece of property and tear it down and put up eight units, 50,000 times 8 units is $400,000 in development charges. That chews up a lot of margin in these projects, which is why one of the reasons I really like this tactic. That's a total aside. No one asked that question. I just went in that direction.
Thank you, JG. I will be contacting you for consultation.
Thanks, Vanessa. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, I'm definitely especially getting some prefab construction warehousing. You're absolutely right, Kelly. Do you ever consider expanding companies to Calgary? Excuse me. Yeah, it's definitely in the cards. I think Visture has an incredible model and an incredible. It's an incredible company that we build with some great systems, and who knows, one day we might be ripe to expand across the country. Right now, we're still growing in the various markets that are close to us because in construction proximity is quite important. And but who knows? Maybe one day, for sure. Maybe one day, absolutely. I'd love to go to Alberta. Should be easier to operate there than here, that's for sure. Okay, so why are you, Cheryl, great question. Why are you able to build them so much faster than new builds, less planning with the city? So that's part of it. Part of it is when you do bigger projects like purpose-built 4-plexes, purpose-built 8-plexes, like other projects, you guys are purpose-built a multifamily 5 doors, whatever. there's a lot more planning. The minute you get in planning, even in Alberta, much more in Ontario than Alberta, but especially in Ontario, especially in BC, the minute you get into planning, you're chewing up somewhere between 6 to 18 months just in planning. You
That's
have
what I was
no
saying.
building.
That's what I was
Yeah,
saying. That's why you're able to do it in 78 days because you
yeah.
don't have all that stuff. Yeah, that's great.
100%. The
Yeah.
path we are running on has been pre-vetted by the municipalities. They want these projects. Natasha talked about it with secondary suites. I'm adding another component to it, which is like the big money maker, which is the coach home, the ADU. But we have a path to run on. The municipalities have okayed it. They like these projects. They want to see these projects. So you get your plans, you do the work, you submit for permit, you get your permit, you start, you're good to go. So yeah, great question, Cheryl. Wonderful. Okay, great. Well, listen, this has been fun, right? You guys have asked some fantastic questions. Is there any final questions on this? If not, I'm going to bring it in for a landing because that is our evening.